Crafting Identities is a podcast where we get people from different walks of life, starting from leaders, industry leaders, creators, and so forth, a TEDx speaker. We want them to come to us, talk about their journey, the challenges that they have faced and they have been facing, and how they have overcome. That's going to help us and our viewers to gain knowledge as well as take action. So that is how crafting identities have been identified and we started it. So here, this is Gargi Sarkar, the founder of Ra Brand Consultants and the founder of Crafting Identities. So today's guest is someone who is a TEDx speaker, a leader, a serial entrepreneur, and so on and so forth. The list is long. Called Manoj Gursahani, and he has been around in the business for a long time, and he's come up with this interesting book called The Human Connect. So I would really like to talk about his book called The Human Connect, and we're going to have a conversation with him, a tete-a-tete with him. Stay tuned, watch it, and watch the entire podcast. It will be an interesting episode for you. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Gargi Sarkar from Crafting Identities, and I have somebody extremely extraordinary person today with me. His name is Manoj Gursahani. You should actually know about him. He's an advisor for strategic global partnership, cross-border investment, growth technologies and collaboration, TEDx speaker, author. My God, they're like a complete list of yours. Co-founder, healthcare startup, Vera Healthcare Technology. So Manoj, welcome to my show, and I'm extremely happy to have you on my show. Looking forward to have a great conversation with you. So Manoj, why don't you throw some light on exactly about your company, about Human Connect, and I mean, this is something I'm really excited about. This is the first time I'm doing something very interesting, which is the Human Connect. Now that's, guys, just wait for it. So yes, Manoj, over to you.
Thank you, Gargi, first of all, for having me on your podcast. And yeah, when we met and we discussed, that was part of the Human Connect. If you saw, we met and we connected, and we lastly less than 3 weeks, but I think I know you forever.
Absolutely.
So it was a chance conversation. We connected. We, of course, connected earlier on social media, etc. But this was a one-on-one connection.
And we also have a connection where we have done IBG, and part of IBG we've been there, and so yeah.
But then we reconnected. So the part, what is it connecting? And I will simplify the answer. Connecting is one is one-on-one. You be connected on social media, etc. Then you build that conversation.
Absolutely.
And we build the conversation. We decided what are the synergies, and eventually this is the podcast happening.
Yes.
So that is my basic phenomenon of Human Connect, and where I propagate that take interest in people, because otherwise what happens in the general connection, they call it networking. I don't use the word networking.
Oh, it's a cliche. I think we use too much now. I think.
Absolutely. So networking at times, I also believe, is a negative connotation. So I'm saying connect with people, and when you can connect with people, again another fine, and I'm not judging, is a transactional mindset. कि मुझे क्या मिलेगा? What am I going to meet when I talk to Gargi, etc. But my whole thing is, when you meet somebody, have a giver's mindset.
Absolutely.
Don't have a transactional mindset, and that's where the magic happens.
Wow. So viewers, just this is something really great. What he talked about is giver's mindset. So a mindset where you are there to give. Wow, beautiful. So Manoj, before we begin, I have some questions for the viewers, okay? I like everybody who's listening or at the same time watching, I want you to think of one relationship that truly changed the life of yours. So I want to pause here, and I want all of you to think this, right? So I want to ask this question to Manoj. So Manoj, now tell me, what personal experience led you, or an experience that led you, or you wanted to come up with Human Connect?
So there are multiple experiences, but I will just say the concept it came in is because I saw people connecting, people going to events, they're collecting 100 cards, and I kept wondering, what are these cards useful? Because they're not making meaningful connection, they're just collecting visiting cards, and most of them, and I have experiences in my earlier days when I was a rookie, I was doing sales management personally, I used to go to every office in Nariman Point to meet them. I didn't meet them. Secretary को तारे visiting card दे दो, and then you connect. So that's a very impersonal way of connecting.
Absolutely.
Spamming, so that does not work. And there are multiple, such experiences I got, and based on that, I realized true connect, and I keep talking about in my book also, quality versus quantity. Make a meaningful conversation. To have a meaningful conversation, you should have curiosity. You should have student of
Absolutely.
life mindset. For example, हम किसको मिलते हैं पहला कार्ड देते हैं. I said, now don't do that. Have a conversation. So Gargi, what do you do?
Correct.
I'll again give a simple example. We met. I first started taking, what do you do?
Correct.
Then you talk about the wonderful things you are doing, and we had
Absolutely.
that conversation built around
True,
it that
true.
way. So that's how it led to. So I believe student of life mindset, be curious, know about others, and also think what you can do for somebody else whom you are talking to. And then I'll
True.
later on talk about it, how you have to listen properly, take interest in that person, instead of, it's all about you. It's about the other person.
Yes, I completely agree. It's all about the other person, and just be a good listener. Listen to the other person and absorb what the other person is talking or saying, right? And that's where the human connect comes into, right?
I'll just add to that.
Yes.
I always say listen to learn than listen to respond. Ab hota kya hai, most of the time we are listening to you. So before you finish your sentence, and that's inherently in everybody. Even
Yes.
I had to be conscious of that mistake I was making. So I listen, and so there are levels of listening which I can actually have another podcast. There is active listening, passive listening, deeper listening, listen to learn, listen to add value. So I'm saying the first message, first and last, is be a good listener, because दो तीन चीज होती है. You are hearing that person better. You are also allowing that person to express themselves.
True.
And in today's world, impersonal world, nobody is there to listen. So
Yeah.
if you are listening to somebody, that itself is a tick mark.
It's a big thing itself.
Yeah,
See what happens, what I have seen also. Most of the time we listen to, as you said, respond, and we have already created a complete conversation in our head that what we need to answer to this, right?
Absolutely.
We're not actually listening.
Agree.
We're just hearing. There's a huge difference, right?
Absolutely.
And I always believe that listen, actually listen, be in that person's world and listen to the person.
And be in the moment.
Be in the moment.
Don't get distracted by a mobile phone,
Yes,
looking back and
yes,
forth,
yes.
scrolling on Insta Reels and all that. Just give that attention. And
True.
that happens not only in business forum, that happens in family now. They were having dinner.
Yeah.
Somebody, your daughter is selling something.
Yes.
Your parents are selling something. हम लोग ज़्यादा फोन में busy है, but सुन नहीं रहे हैं.
Correct. And what you said about daughter, my daughter says this to me all the time, Mama, you don't listen.
Correct.
Okay, so I get this to hear from her that you don't listen. So 2026, I have taken it on that I will listen, really listen what she's going to say. So now I want to ask the listeners as well as people who are watching our podcast, the digital paradox, which is like it's been used, overused, the digital world. Now let's do a quick check in with our listeners, as well as I want comments in that from everybody. That how many of you have hundreds of contacts on the phone and everywhere, but who you can call up at 2 a.m. The question goes to you, Manoj, now.
So very good question, and that's my answer is always basics is quality versus quantity. हमारे phone में ना हजारों mobile numbers है.
Correct.
Facebook में thousands of friends are there, but I always say if you have more than 15 numbers on your phone which you can call at 2 a.m. at night or 4 o'clock in the morning, then you are a lucky man.
Of
because
course.
ये भीड़ भाड़ में we have acquaintances, not relationships.
Absolutely.
And so I also tell my people just to add that. But to build that, you have to start giving. So I always make it a practice. So let's say my friend is now settled in the US, but his mother is there staying somewhere. I make it a point to once in a while call his mom.
I would like to add this. Today only you were having a conversation with someone who lost a passport.
So I'll give you that. Yeah. That's a good example. Now again, she's like a Rakhi sister to me. Her husband called me frantically, Manoj, ek problem hoga. I said, what happened? I'm not going to take names, otherwise she'll kill me. Sure. So then he said, my wife has just got down in Bangkok and she can't find a passport. What do I do? So immediately I said, okay, now what's done is done. And I knew with my human connect, it's not only connecting within India, it's connecting globally. So I called up somebody I knew in Bangkok. He also said, passport, how did you lose? I said, now that is done. What can be done? So he said, okay, this is the method. Go to the police station, register a complaint, then go to the consulate. And he knew somebody in the Indian High Commission to help. So again, the world is 2 degrees of separation if you keep the connect. So, and also your mind has to be always connecting the dots. So when
Yes.
he called my friend about his wife, I immediately formed a 3-way group. I said, let's do this. Called my friend, connected, shared the numbers. So it's all about thinking the way
Presence
to
of mind is
presence of
so important, right? And
absolutely.
also that this also comes, I think it
Sure.
comes through the number of years of experience.
Absolutely.
And see, this kind of a human connect that you have built or you have built through
Sure.
years is all because you have been open to it.
Absolutely.
You have been receiving as well as you've been giving,
Absolutely.
right? So you've been first the giver, as you said.
Sure.
And with being a giver, that helped you to,
It
people
automatically
started,
comes. Yeah. Start, they reach out. But I'll tell you, the reason I think this podcast would benefit to your listeners especially
Yes.
is that I wish, honestly, I knew the same
Yes.
thing what I am doing today if I was younger.
Yes, I
I
completely
wish I could
agree.
have read
Completely
somebody
agree.
like one of the books I read. I always mention about that. What Dale Carnegie when I was growing
Yes.
up. I think he's the ultimate guy
Absolutely,
who
Dale
written
Carnegie,
probably
yes.
100 years back this book on. And by the way, without being immodest, people do call me India's Dale Carnegie. I don't want to take credit for that. But if I had that and more books like what I have written when I was younger, it would have helped me in my journey learn faster.
Nice. So listen to this, and I'm sure all of you have got the answer. And I quite agree with him. If we would have been younger, much more younger, and we would have known all this,
Absolutely.
and maybe would have done things differently. So now all the Gen Zs and the younger
Absolutely.
generation should definitely take this as a cue for yourself and look at it and introspect and see what is going to be, what's happening in your life, and how this digital being bombarding into your life.
Absolutely.
Start connecting, start talking to people, eye to eye, level eye to eye with people. That's the best place to be in.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Totally agree.
So my third question to all the listeners as well as to all the viewers who was watching our podcast, the question is business reality check. So a lot of people are doing business today. How many of you, when you do business, feel that the entire business is transactional? What do you think, Manoj, about this?
So you hit a great point, and this is where my hack is. Yeah, the whole world is, and there's nothing right or wrong, because some
Absolutely.
people have targets too. Some of the audience might have in sales promotion, they want targets. Some are, various people have their various survival mode. They have to, get those results. So I'm not saying don't be ambitious, don't be transactional, but the approach starting with it will lead to a transaction. The hack is when you build a connection, and let's say you're meeting somebody, and that's a universal formula which I believe. So when you're meeting somebody, find out what his interest is.
Okay.
And then find out. So let's say somebody says, you know what, I have somebody sick in the family, I need a medical opinion. Or I'm talking about business. आप जा रहे हो business के लिए. But now in digital world, you can research. So I'm meeting Gargi, I can research everything about you before I'm meeting you, right? If I know when I'm meeting you.
Yes.
So I will know you have a daughter, XYZ, know about your personal thing. You love
As well
cats,
as my
dogs,
work, everything.
you
Yeah.
love plants, whatever, you like cooking, whatever. So once I know about it, so I would rather, when you're going in a business environment, if you have a chance, first start talking about, and if you're meeting a successful people, can you tell me what is the formula of your success? So आदमी को अच्छा लगता है, because
Exactly.
him or her, I'm being
Exactly.
gender specific and not being gender specific, then they talk about it. Then talk about their interest level.
Yes.
So let's say he's interested in wildlife photography. Okay, then you will, and you know what? I was going through your Facebook profile and I saw some fabulous, photographs of some tigers and elephants you had shot. So you're immediately getting his interest. And suppose then somebody starts a conversation, he said, you know what, you're in the healthcare, you're from a pharma field. Let's say I'm from a pharma field. He'll say, do you know somebody who can give me the latest thing on genomic testing or X testing, whatever? And then you said, okay, I'll get back to you. Or I'm looking for an internship for my nephew in a particular pharma firm. So when you're listening, again, listening and then absorbing, you're not committing. What you should do is, yeah, let me see what I can do.
Perfect.
Moment you do that, and I'll give you a follow up on that, then what happens? The attention of the guy whom you have met, it softens.
Absolutely.
You are not going on say, sir, mera card hai, blah blah blah. This is what I do. My formula is this. I'm better than the best, and all that. Nobody cares.
Exactly.
You understand?
That's transactional. Absolutely.
That's transaction. People care about people.
Yes.
And of course, your quality is given, it will be good and all that. So if all things are good, your relationship, but it
Yes.
doesn't end there. My main is coming to the follow up. After you go, you have absorbed it, put it on your mobile phone or your notes. When you go back, then send a nice message. Don't send a lamba, fast forward or
Yes.
forward, all that. Then send a message, sir, I met you, or whoever else it is. You are talking about some medical advice. Here is the link. Here is this. Let me know if I can be of help. You won the guy.
Absolutely. See, I've seen this whenever we go for any conversation with any clients, meeting first time. I make sure exactly what I do, that I read about the person, I read
Absolutely.
about the company, I read everything about it. So when we are there, we are not just talking about what I want to sell. I'm always talking about what's your pain point.
God,
And
beautiful.
looking into the pain point and
Absolutely.
actually answering that pain point. When we do that with anybody, again, a human being to a client, to anybody,
Sure.
that's again the human connect. I'm
Absolutely.
understanding your pain point and I'm
Absolutely.
delivering on that pain point.
Absolutely.
Bingo.
Then magic happens.
Then bingo.
Then even the world is hyper competitive,
yeah.
everything. Once you
Exactly.
touch upon that point, and it takes time. So don't expect. My
Yes.
second thing is, in this today's world of
We want
the
everything instant.
dopamine rush and then instant
Yes.
gratification, relationship takes time to build.
Absolutely
Whether,
correct.
by the way, it's professional or personal.
Personal.
So
Agreed.
take time, invest in a relationship,
Absolutely.
and then you will see the dividend.
We have a business reality check now. Okay. Now you have to explain human connect in 5 minutes. How would you do that to all our listener, viewers, subscribers?
So I actually have a framework. I'll introduce my framework. So I say, yeah, if you follow this thing, body language. So they say non-verbal communication is 80% of our communication, not what we speak.
Absolutely
Okay.
correct.
So it's like you're talking to me and I'm looking there, or you're talking to me, I'm
Yes.
looking at my mobile phone. So the body language is very critical. So when you're 5 minute bio, so there's a story about Shah Rukh Khan that he's the most impressive guy when he speaks, because he speaks to somebody for 30 seconds, makes him or her believe he's the most important person in the world.
Yes.
So that's one of the things I've read about him. But so that's one. So pay attention to the person. Body language, very, very important. So body language, when I say non-verbal, is like we are talking now, right?
Yes.
I'm looking at you, we are in the moment, we are having that conversation. Because I'm listening to you, I'm responding to your questions. So that's one framework of a B. It's called the blinks. L, again, I repeat that again, listening. Listening skill is important. Listen to learn, then listen to respond. I is being intelligent about it, to doing your research. When you're meeting, some could be chance meetings, some could be, and I can provide. I is intelligent, inquisitive. If you know more, I can discuss, trust me, about any subject under the world, because I read a lot. So that inquisitiveness is there. And very important in a blinks is remembering names. It's not an easy task.
Yes.
In today's time, easy nahi hai, because we are inundated with information, itne numbers hai. So remembering names, there are various hacks to it. So for example, how you correlate the name to in your mind, and you keep repeating. So when I meet you, I'll say, so first is paying attention. And if you want to remember, you can remember. नहीं तो जरूरत भी नहीं है. So then I will say, अच्छा Gargi. So I'll keep, when I meet you for the first time, I'll maybe use your name 5 times in a whole things, in a conversation. Gargi, so what did you do? So Gargi, tell me about yourself. तो वो mind में ना, subconscious mind में एक imprint बन जाता है. So that is remembering name. Second is Q. In my thing is, Q is quality of conversation.
Yes.
Don't be generic. Don't say, oh, you know what, I'm going tomorrow to Malaysia or going to Switzerland or wherever, or I had this single malt whiskey, whatever. You know what? Conversation quality is talking about, and don't, I always say here also, please avoid politics and religion.
Yes.
Because somewhere you'll cross the line, somewhere everybody is very sensitive, and we have to respect that. The quality of conversation, you're very sensitive, and you also have to have EQ to understand. So if somebody is saying, you know what, I lost somebody, or I lost my job, and you know that, so you should try to put EQ is an emotional quotient which you are trying to put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Yes,
so you have to say, oh, what is that, what happened, is that what, so just listening. So quality of conversation. In the Q is also quality versus quantity. So when I have been guilty, मैं एक conference में जाता था, let's say 100 people are there, I wanted to meet everybody. Then I realized, boss, कुछ मतलब ही नहीं है, because I'm meeting, I'm not making a connect.
Absolutely.
Then I realized and I can tell everybody, whoever meeting you go to, dinner you go to, networking event you go to, think you want to meet 8 or 10 people out of the 100 people, but have conversations with them.
Yes, and
That is
उसमें
what
से
people
5 लोग भी मिलो,
मिलो या 2
5
भी मिले,
2 भी मिले, correct.
it's a great number. And
Yes.
last S, according to me, in my blinks is storytelling. We all have to be good storyteller.
Yes.
So for example, I always say, for those who are been seen that our generation is Diwar, Sholay,
Oh yes.
all these things, we'll still remember the stories about what was told about, आज भी मैं फेंके हुए पैसे
पैसे
नहीं उठाता
कितने
और
आदमी
कितने
थे.
आदमी थे. So why? Because that
Yeah.
was powerful storytelling.
Absolutely.
So we all have a stories. Okay, and I have lots of stories which I can share also. But when you did storytelling, it cuts statistics and
True.
people remember stories.
Yes.
And so for effective storytelling, I appeal to each of our listeners to write their own stories on your mobile phone. 15 stories से जो life में हो रही है, no artificial, and then contextually, depending on that, tell them a storytelling. So if it's a business thing, then you can tell them in a story, you know what, my solution was used by so and so, and they found that benefit. So, or the same thing, people will say, sir, I'm a billion-dollar company, I've got 20,000 people, we have gone done, our results every hour, nobody cares. You storytelling, people will pick up.
Yes.
Statistics, nobody. So that's
True.
my Blinks framework: body language, listening skills, being intuitive, looking at all that. N is remembering names. Q is quality of conversations, quality over quantity, and S is storytelling. And in the S, I'll also add staying in touch. It's a very important point. So what happens when we meet people? Somebody said, oh no, what? So I want an internship. While you're speaking or all that, I said, don't worry, send me a message. And I've seen people, when you send them a message, don't even acknowledge.
Yes.
After you're committed. और हम सबके साथ ऐसे हुआ है. बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं, acknowledge भी नहीं करते. All I'm saying is, staying in touch is at least acknowledge. Today I met somebody, I'd gone for a kind of a cricket match for the disabled, or nowadays they term the talk not abled, and they were fabulous people. And I met somebody from Nika. So we started talking to each other, and we realized we are from the same school, Don Bosco mein hum gaye the. Now moment we exchanged numbers, we connected on LinkedIn, and while I was driving back from that event at Matunga Gymkhana, I immediately sent him a message. It was lovely connecting with you. Let's stay in touch. That's it, and over. So again, stay in touch with those you want to be.
Absolutely.
Okay, and you might not want to stay in touch with everybody.
Exactly.
But staying in touch is important. And here my another formula is, do not stay in touch by pushing them all political messages.
Oh,
दुनिया
yes.
भर का ज्ञान, दुनिया भर का WhatsApp forward मत करो, because that's a big no.
Yeah, true.
टू हाँ, आपके स्कूल ग्रुप में आपको जो करना है करो, कॉलेज ग्रुप में, बडीज ग्रुप में करो, मगर in this kind of thing, be relevant, met you, let me know how I can help you.
Correct.
So this is my framework.
Perfect. So I think these framework, we need to keep it in mind while
Absolutely.
we are, operating, and everybody should do that. And what we can also do is put the framework in the comment section, and everybody can reply to the framework, and we can look into
Absolutely.
something interesting out of that.